Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here today because we are unpacking a truly fascinating synthesis of ideas. We're going to dive deep into Swami Prabhavananda's executive summary on Vedanta, on the Sermon on the Mount. Now let me tell you right up front, this isn't just a bunch of high-level theory. It is a highly practical guide that bridges the East and the West in a way that is incredibly actionable for your daily life.
So think about this for a second. What happens when ancient Eastern philosophy meets a core Christian text? It sounds like a clash of worlds, right? But that's exactly what we're exploring today. We're going to look at how this source text takes two major, seemingly distinct worldviews and bridges them into one unified practical framework that you can actually use every single day.
Here is our roadmap for today. Number 1, two traditions, one truth. Number 2, discovering your inner divinity. Number 3, the requirements of discipleship. Number 4, internal practices for growth. And finally, number 5, external actions and service.
All right, let's jump right in. Section 1. Two traditions, one truth. The unifying goal of world religions.
When you put Hinduism, specifically Vedanta, side by side with Christianity's Sermon on the Mount, Swami Prabhavananda points out something pretty amazing. He argues they point to the exact same goal, which is God realization. Despite having completely different geographical and cultural origins, the source text asserts that all the great world religions and their prophets are essentially manifesting one underlying spiritual truth. It's a huge idea. It means that if you strip away the surface-level rituals and the historical context, the ultimate target has always been exactly the same.
Moving on to Section 2. Discovering your inner divinity, the core philosophy of transformation.
So think about the phrase inner divinity for a moment. It's this concept that your true, real nature is already divine, and the chief goal of your life is just to realize and manifest it. Now, this fundamentally reframes the Sermon on the Mount. From this viewpoint, the sermon isn't positioned as some unattainable, guilt-inducing moral ideal that we're all just doomed to fail at. Not at all. Instead, it's a highly practical map to uncovering an inner truth that you and everyone else already possess.
Okay, so how do we start uncovering it? Well, it begins with purifying the heart to dissolve those inner impurities. But here's the catch. Ethical living alone just isn't enough. You can't just follow the rules and check the boxes. You need a deep, persistent longing. The text tells us that it's this active, sincere seeking and prayer that the divine actually responds to. So it's really about going way beyond a basic moral checklist and fueling your faith with some real, genuine desire.
Which brings us to Section 3. The requirements of discipleship, preparing the mind for spiritual truth.
To truly walk this path, you've got to have genuine humility and a real hunger for righteousness. You have to cultivate what's called a single-pointed desire for God, which means actively renouncing your egotism and releasing worldly attachments. Notice how demanding this actually is. You literally have to want this transformation more than you want to hold on to your own ego, or your status, or your stuff. That intense, almost burning hunger is absolutely essential for spiritual progress.
Let's look at Section 4. Internal practices for growth. Building your daily spiritual routine.
So what does this look like on a Tuesday morning? Well, your internal routine begins with daily meditation. But there's a crucial key here. You need to pray for love and sympathy toward all beings before you even sit down. You've got to approach this practice with deep humility, remaining totally receptive and eager to learn. And here is perhaps the most fascinating part of the text. You practice self-control not by suppressing your desires, but by transforming those passions. You are literally converting raw, human passion into refined spiritual energy. It's a real game changer.
Now, this internal work doesn't just stop when you get up off the cushion. It continues throughout your entire day. You have to actively monitor your thoughts. That means catching yourself to avoid fault-finding and judgment, stopping negative speech and gossip right in its tracks, and critically addressing your own faults before you even think about correcting someone else. By consciously choosing to cultivate compassion and amplify the good in everyone you meet, you basically choke out negativity at its source. That's what creates the internal space you need for genuine growth.
All right, Section 5, External Actions and Service, taking your divinity into the world.
This part presents a massive paradigm shift regarding how we actually help others.
You see, true selfless service doesn't just mean writing a check for charity or doing a chore because you feel socially obligated. It means seeing all beings as literal manifestations of the divine and serving them without expecting any reward, any recognition, or any return on investment. According to this framework, you are quite literally serving God by serving them. So, putting this into practice means reconciling quickly. Do not let resentments fester. Settle them swiftly. It means acting with radical compassion, which involves forgiving people, loving your enemies, and showing a calm indifference to the wicked. And finally, you practice non-attachment by surrendering personal claims. You're asked to pray for those who hurt you and to live simply. Think of yourself as just a caretaker of God's creation, rather than an owner trying to hold on to it all.
And that brings us to a concept that gets so often misunderstood in today's world. Non-resistance is rooted in strength, not weakness. Loving your enemies and not resisting evil, that isn't about being a passive doormat. It demands immense self-control. Think about it. Overriding your natural, human instinct to strike back when you're wronged requires massive internal power. That makes non-resistance a position of ultimate, quiet strength.
Let's tie this whole shebang together with a beautiful guiding principle from the text. Follow the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, while keeping God at the center of all actions. It's just a perfect synthesis, isn't it? It merges practical day-to-day ethics, basically treating people right, with deep, continuous spiritual devotion. The action you take is ethical, but the motivation fueling it is entirely rooted in your spiritual connection. Which leaves us with one lingering thought for you to chew on. How will you manifest your own inner divinity today? We've explored the map that bridges these two incredible great traditions, and we've seen the daily habits it takes to get there. Now, the ball is in your court to put it into action. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really challenge you to take at least one of these practices into your life right now. Keep learning, stay curious, and I'll see you next time.